all the world's a stage.
And all the men and women merely players.
They have their exits and their entrances.
And one man in his time plays many parts.
And this is the hardest part I have ever played.
These are the voyages of the USS Boudica. All right, and welcome everyone to episode 5 of Star Trek Mell, a Star Trek Adventures actual play run by myself as well as several other friends. And you may have noticed that there was a strange anomaly with the intro video today where a different Star Trek Adventures actual play started playing. That is a unintentional, perhaps intentional, we don't know yet, strong foreshadow to an incoming crossover where some of the crew from the Mell show will be transferring unintentionally over to the Valhalla, and Valhalla will be sending some crew over to Mell, and that will be happening next week. But that's not today's episode. Today's episode is episode 5, The Second Son. And as is tradition, we're going to go around the table. We're going to have all of the players introduce themselves, their characters, and then we're going to dive right into what I hope to be a delightful opening log from Commander Velia. So we're going to go Matthew, Alex, C4A, Adrillian, and Fizbo. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew. I play the female Vulcan, or half Vulcan, half Betazoid captain of the Boudica, Suri Hagen.
My name is Alex. I play Commander Vidar Rin, the ship's joined Trill chief engineer.
Hi, I'm C4A, and I play Commander Andromeda Mitchell, the Trill Betazoid first officer.
Hi, I'm Jillian. I play the human intelligence officer, Samina Velia.
Hey, I'm Fizbo. I'm playing science officer Jason.
And of course, I am Dare Wolf, the game master, and I play a lot of different characters, but today I will primarily be taking on the role of an NPC known as Rilia. Rilia, she is a part of the Numfel Legion, an alien and the caretaker of Chronos Station. But we're going to open, right before the opening log, we're going to open our scene with a kind of exterior shot of Chronos Station. And if you remember, Chronos Station is this kind of circular, spinning, massive, just enormous station. The ship itself, the Boudica, as it travels into the docking port, it looked like a small little fly next to a huge open window. And as you move in, you can see these kind of blinking docking lights that are almost welcoming. And as described, there are all of these murals that have been painted onto the walls of this opening chamber, this docking bay that you see. You see lots of sun motifs rising, and then there's this ever-present humanoid-looking sort of outline. And the only distinctive feature of this humanoid that always seems to be at the precipice of where the sun is rising, this humanoid has bright red hair. Bright red hair. It's the only defining feature. The rest of them is kind of a shadowy, black outlined kind of marking, as it were. But we watch as the Boudica sails in, flies in, lands. The landing legs extend. There is that ka-chunk kind of noise. The whole ship shakes. Everyone inside grabs on. And we see this doorway open, and a bright kind of white light beams out. And from it, a single individual walks forward. This tall, roughly 8-foot tall looking alien. Feminine-like features, if you can really tell, because they are so foreign. They have eyes on the side of their head as well as eyes in front. She is wearing a green robe and has a single amulet with a kind of bright, almost looks like a sunlight, like a little sunburst, starburst as it were. Not the candy, but the actual astronomical phenomenon. But we're going to zoom into where we see Commander Velia at her desk in her private office, recording her opening log.
Stardate unknown, Commander Velia's log. We've discovered that Starbase 24 is still intact. Unfortunately, the one probe that we collected this data from was unable to detect any life signs aboard. Surrounding the starbase, we found a debris field of wrecked ships and parts from various sources and dated to be from about 30 years ago. We're unable to collect any more data of the starbase. Refer to status report redacted. It was at this time that I received a priority 1 message from headquarters. The Boudica's new orders were to find any information on Starbase 24 accessible, and more importantly, any information on Chronos Station that we just discovered and were approaching. This station, and I don't believe by coincidence, is the same station that the USS Ragnar disappeared at 1 year ago. I keep that fact at the forefront of my thinking. The station is massive in size. It appears to be powered by a white hole, according to our scans. The station itself appeared uninterested in our approach until my console read thousands of unfamiliar ships approaching. According to Commander Rin, they are not of the same construction as the station. We were then hailed by an unknown species of an organized faction called the Numfell Legion. They instantly demanded we leave immediately as Chronos Station was under quarantine without further explanation. Captain Surrey tried to continue the conversation that we were not of any threat and to explain our presence. Without any productive conversing, they unleashed their swarm of a fleet. They began to jump in and out of existence, seemingly due to creating micro wormholes. Fact noted. Refer to status report redacted. I quickly plotted out a pattern and a path from our current position to Chronos Station. Headquarters wanted answers about this station, so that's what we were going to do. Contrary, the captain had ordered us to run. Due to the ship's current status, I knew that running would be fatal. The Boudica was handicapped, and an entire fleet of wormhole jumping ships would easily outrun and overtake us. With some tensions and eventual confirmation from Commander Mitchell that we needed to get to the station, the captain took my advice and passed to cut through the fleet to the station. When we arrived, we were left in a completely empty area of space. Empty in the sense that there was nothing around us sans Chronos Station. We appeared to be in a temporal bubble of some sort, that if we left, we could appear at any time and or location in space. Commander Jasondaman then entered a state of inebriation of some sort, likely due to some effect of the entity possessing him, referred to status report redacted, while Commander Mitchell became enamored with the view screen showing the station. The chief medical officer was promptly called. We were able to safely dock at the station, and we await the captain's orders on that point. I know Captain Surrey is not happy with me at the moment, or rather, I assume so. I could be wrong. I understand up until now there haven't been many chances to build any trust between myself and the captain, as there have been for her and her first officer. Writing mundane reports for 6 months that don't require the captain's eye doesn't give that opportunity. But this isn't my first time in these shoes, and I've experienced a range of reactions to my position before. End log.
Beautiful. Well done. Well done. You may have 1 momentum for that delightful opening log. Absolutely delightful opening log. So my question to the crew is, you can see out the view screen of the Boudica. You can see this large, looks almost like a huge double doors. They slide apart, and then there's this bright light. And it almost seems as though this tall, lanky kind of creature, their face is, they have like almost like these kind of folds that come back over their heads. They have the eyes on the side, the eyes in front, and there is just the one, and she is wearing this green robe, and she steps forward and just waits, but she is silhouetted by this white light, so she herself kind of looks black against the background of this bright light, and you think maybe that bright light could be the white hole that comes towards from the center of the station, but you're not sure. But I wanted to give the crew and the captain a chance to deliberate prior to heading out to greet this alien.
To be clear, where exactly are we? Are we on the bridge together, or have we convened a conference room?
You tell me, where would you like to meet?
Okay, then I think once the sort of preliminary review of the ship and its systems had been completed, that the captain would have ordered the crew to carry out, she would have convened in the conference room.
Done. So we pivot over to the conference room where we see the crew and the captain, the command staff, as it were, and the captain gathering at the conference table. And I leave the scene to all of you.
And she's just going to sort of survey the various different officers under her command. So, does anyone have any idea what's going on here?
Well, there's obviously something temporal going on, and the Ragnar that disappeared a year ago is clearly involved. We may have disappeared just as well as they have, and the fact that they're not here now that we've entered this bubble, I'm not sure where they would be at this point, but the station clearly is the center of it all, and whoever these Numfell people are.
The only thing I'm quite certain of at the moment is that this species is so far beyond our own in temporal mechanics that I want to meet all of them, and I want to look at all of their things, and I want to read all of their books. But they seem friendly, don't they? I like the design of the station. It's nice.
Yes, Commander, it certainly is. Have you spoken with our chief medical officer?
A few days ago? Yeah, I mean recently. Yeah, pretty recently.
Okay, before you depart on the away mission to the station, I would like you to meet with him again because your behavior is somewhat unorthodox for you.
I hadn't noticed.
That's why I'm ordering you to sickbay.
Right now? Can I wait until after the meeting?
When the meeting is concluded, Commander.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure.
I think to compound on top of what Commander Sonoman mentioned about just the temporal technology, the little bit of data I've been able to gather, just the engineering of the station is beyond what I'm familiar with.
That is a phenomenal moment for you to make a control engineering check to determine, well, really how much you've been able to figure out. And how we're going to do this is the number of successes you get won't translate into momentum, but up to a maximum of 6, you can get up to that much information about the station based on your preliminary scans.
I'm just going to use a normal roll in that case.
Perfect.
I'm not going to add anything to it.
I love it.
Would starship construction, perhaps?
I would allow it. I would absolutely allow it. Beautiful. 2. So 2 of 6, so a third. So what you've been able to determine, Commander Rin, is that the station itself is indeed powered by what appears to be a white hole. This, instead of sucking in all matter and, scrunching it down to the smallest pinprick, it expels matter almost uncontrollably. A white hole should not be able to be contained. Its energy release would be so massive, so violent, that it would likely rip everything, the station, everything around it. It would just rip it apart. Instead of, imploding and sucking it in like a black hole, it would just explode it out in all directions. However, somehow this station is able to not only contain the white hole, but actually use it as a power source. What is also interesting is that the different pods that you see around the station, and if you need a quick refresher, I can actually move you back over to the station so that you can take a quick peek at it. But the station itself seems to have 4 distinct larger chambers, or like larger sections, connected by these long kind of circular, well, they're tubes, right? So it's these 4 sections, and the preliminary readings of these 4 sections, each of them is a vastly different atmosphere. One of them is a class M. One is a hostile planet. One is a kind of looks like a moon's surface. Another looks like it might be completely frozen. And they continually cycle, but they're never the same. if that makes sense. But those are the two main pieces of information you've been able to garner from your preliminary scans.
So from everything I've been able to figure out, as we suspected, this station is powered by some form of white hole. But every piece of technology, every bit of science and engineering that I know says that what's happening here is impossible. That this station should not be able to contain it. And I don't know how it is. I don't know why it is. And each of the outer bands of the station seems to be a different planetary makeup. We have one band a demon class world, one band an M class world, a couple V class. I think one was even registering as a J class.
Mr. Rin, assuming, ignore all laws of physics, what could absorb a white hole?
Ignoring the laws of physics?
Yeah, sure, throw them out. Would a black hole work? What about a couple black holes?
They technically cancel each other out. But as far as I'm aware, we haven't detected any form of black hole. We haven't detected any sort of Hawking radiation coming from the station. No sort of containment that would coincide with that.
On the note of radiation, how is it affecting the life forms aboard the station? Any ill effects?
From the scans I have, inconclusive.
I have to say, commanders, satisfying our curiosity regarding this station and its operation is certainly one objective. However, my greatest concern is locating the purported ambassador. Commander Velia, considering that Starfleet intelligence will likely want to interrogate him, I'd like that to be your first concern. Identifying him and securing him.
Yes, Captain.
We still have no idea what he was doing here, what his ultimate goals were, and why he potentially, and she gestures over towards Commander Mitchell, attacked you, or at least affected you in the way that he did.
Without being able to search the entire station, Captain, without getting eyes on it, I don't think we can do anything other than conjecture and hypothesize. We don't really have sensors strong enough to get eyes on this thing. We can certainly in a search.
She'll pull up the sensor readings from the end of last session. Did we not detect a human life sign on the station?
You did detect a single human life sign.
Again, Commander, take a trip to sickbay after this meeting. I think your short-term memory is being affected.
We can hypothetically find them, but if the area keeps shifting from class J to M, we don't know if they're still there. And considering the time-altering everything here, they could be a different person now.
All we have to go on is the information that we possess. A humanoid life form among these Numfell Legion members seems sufficiently bizarre for us to investigate.
Perhaps the inhabitants of the station know the ambassadors here. Perhaps that is definitely an angle we can take as well. They seem to be quite welcoming when we docked, what little we conversed with them at the time.
This moment, I'm going to interject. As Captain, you are looking across and there is a panel of a little screen there with some readouts of the Boudica. You blink and for a moment it looks like an Intrepid class vessel and you see the name USS Ragnar. You blink again and then it's back to the USS Boudica, the Steamrunner class.
She just sort of shakes her head. It's all right. Stress headaches I guess. She rubs
Perhaps
her
just
neck
sick bay would
awkwardly.
be in order for you as well, Captain.
Regular doses of painkillers are always on the menu for me, Commander. Thank you for your concern. Anything else, ladies, gentlemen?
Not from my standpoint.
Mitchell?
No, Captain.
Then I'd like you to put together an away team. You'll be in charge of the diplomatic overture towards our hosts. I would like you to focus on this fleet of smaller vessels. Have we wandered into some kind of civil war between factions of their people? Is that why the starbase was attacked? Because of an error on their part? Regardless, we need to know more about this invasive force.
Yes, Captain.
And over to Commander Velia. Commander, you are acting tactical officer and security chief of this vessel. I hope that you'll prioritize the safety of the away team.
Of course. Always first priority.
Very good. Thank you, Commander. Questions?
Are we ready to go? She says somewhat playfully.
I don't know, Commander. Are you?
Let me call up the remainder of this away team, and in a few moments we will be ready to go.
Very good, Commander. I will be analyzing the data that we've collected on those fighter craft. If we have to encounter them again, I'd like to be prepared.
And as the crew exits, the captain, you're the last one sitting there. And perhaps you are rubbing your brow, perhaps you're feeling a little out of sorts, but you can't help it. You can't help but feel like there's a tightness in your chest. You know you're not having a heart attack, but if you were, it kind of feels like that. And this very intense crushing feeling starts to take a hold of your chest. And in the back of your mind, you hear a very deep kind of heartbeat sound. It's almost as though you're hearing your own heartbeat, and it's just deep, dark. And as you kind of close your eyes to grit against the pain, Captain Hagen, you think you see sitting across the table from you, you think you see another captain. You think you see that captain having a conversation with his crew. And you think for a moment that you might be able to hear what he's saying. And he says, "We have to rescue them. We have to get them out of there. We have to." And then that heartbeat sound stops.
Before it does,
Yeah, go for
could
it.
I reach out with my empathic sense? Because
I would love it if you did. Yes, please.
empaths and telepaths, even Betazoids ones, are capable
Yeah.
of connecting with each other telepathically.
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible for me to use that empathic sense to gain some kind of better appreciation for whatever that sound is?
Yes.
Or
yes,
reach
yes,
out
yes,
to those
yes,
lines?
yes. So what I want you to do is I want you to make a presence in medicine difficulty of 3. Complication range on this is going to be 19 to 20.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pass that. All right.
You have 5 momentum. You can always give me threat.
No, we remembered that you kept them from last game, all right?
I'll give you 1.
Thank
I
you.
do have a focus, but it's irrelevancy because my medicine is 1. So there you go.
You got 3. Holy moly. So you reach out and you connect with this. Well, it sounds like a heartbeat. It's not really a voice, but you connect with this. Wait, presence
Sorry,
19? Is that
yeah,
right?
that's not right.
Oh, I was gonna say that's
that should
amazing.
be a 10.
All right.
That should be a 10.
So then you would have failed, and you would have gotten a complication.
Yep.
Which is even cooler. All right. So here's what happens, Captain Hagen. You feel your heart start to beat so fast that it feels like it's about to burst out of your chest. And as you go to stand, you begin to kind of waver. You begin to hear multiple voices. You hear arguing, you hear screaming. You hear the red-headed woman's voice. The captain, the fake captain from earlier episodes. You hear her arguing with this man who's saying, we've got to rescue them. We've got to get them out of that temporal anomaly. And then everything goes black. And we're going to pivot away from the captain over to the first officer and her away team that she's putting together. Okay. So, first officer, who are you bringing on this away mission?
I would bring Commander Velia.
Okay.
She would insist anyway, so.
Fair.
She would gauge Commander Rin just to make sure it's like, is he emotionally compromised in regards to family on this station and or like pros and cons. And I think she would find it acceptable, so he's coming too. Jasoniman would need to go to sick bay. So looking at the OCs or the NPCs, sorry. Let's bring, I'm gonna mess up this person's name. Matthew's security character.
Zernel Kroll. Okay. Kroll.
Right. Done.
And would sickbay clear Jasoniman for going, or do I need to pull in one of his NPCs as well?
Jasoniman, give me a presence in science, difficulty of 2. This is how effective you are at seeming normal. It's like everybody, hey man, act normal kind of thing. Yes.
All right.
So if you
Presence
fail,
and what? Sorry.
Presence command.
like I hope you don't fail, but if you do, Andromeda will not tolerate that.
Submit. Okay. I definitely do not have an applicable focus here.
Oh! All right,
Okay.
Jasoniman, here's the thing. You're high as a kite. We're going to have to take you off of duty for now until I can figure out how to bring you down from the clouds, okay?
Can I still do research?
Absolutely not. You, chemicals, crazy scientific equipment, you might chop a hand off of something. You, nope, you're stuck in the medical... Nope, and hypospray, and you're knocked out. All right.
Which one of these NPCs is your science? Is that Tana or Gracia?
Me? I don't have
Yeah.
the science because I am science. I made for all the other disciplines.
Okay. Well, we need a science officer too. Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, you can play whoever you want. There's multiple NPCs for anyone to play. So if there's someone that's calling out to you, you could play them.
That's true. And Matthew, if you'd like to change as well, that's totally fine. I actually took this literally and I was like, yep, I'm picking
Matthew
the roster.
plays a science character.
That's what I was about to do.
Yeah.
I would love to play Barile Zim.
Done.
Who is security.
Done.
Okay, so
Rails in. And then Matthew, what science officer would you like to bring?
Take my science officer, Tana Eden.
Okay. Tana Eden. Done. Beautiful, beautiful. So we cut to a scene of this. Kind of looks like a little like a little elevator platform descending from the Boudica, and we see Commander Mitchell, Commander Velia, Commander Rin, and your 2 red shirts because they don't deserve names. No, I'm kidding. We see these 2 red shirts with them, and we watch as you land on this platform. And to describe it to you, the metal that makes up this docking bay, it is, if you were to take your tricorder out and you were to scan it, you know how that if you were to, like rub a like perfectly lasered, ball of some sort of like glass or metal, there'd still be tiny little impurities and little bumps if you get down on the microscopic level. This landing bay, this docking bay, its metal that makes up its floor is to the atomic level smooth. smooth. It is perfect. There is not a single anything wrong with it. No impurities, no imperfections. It is perfect. And as you begin to scan, everyone making scans with their tricorders, you would notice that usually, even on your ships, you'll find maybe a little impurity here or something that's slightly off. I mean, as good as Starfleet's technology is, you're still humans, as it were. But there's nothing wrong with this station in this moment.
Well, as part of these scans, I want to know, would it be possible to try and determine how old the station is?
I love that your mind goes there. Absolutely, you could do that. Wonderfully thought. Wonderfully thought. That would be either a reason science, or I would even let you do a reason engineer, depending on who wants to do it and if somebody wants to assist.
I think Tana with reason science would probably go with that.
I love it.
My reason engineering for that as well.
You notice as you are scanning that a second alien, the first had sort of this kind of light greenish blue skin. The second has a kind of tan orangish looking skin.
So what would the difficulty on this be?
So the difficulty on this was actually a 3.
I will give you 1 momentum to roll 3 dice then.
I like it.
If starship construction still count
Yeah,
here?
absolutely. I'll allow it. Ooh, there it is. There it is. All right, so you are going to get back 2 momentum, which is fantastic. So you begin to analyze the chemical components, the makeup, carbon date, as it were, this station, and you look at your readings. You look at them again, you run them again. I mean, it could be right, but that seems kind of sketchy, kind of skeptical maybe. Looks to be about as old as the universe itself. Perhaps seconds after the Big Bang.
He's going to stand there looking at the tricorder, close it, put it away, ask one of the other weight team members for theirs, run it again, get the same readings, hand it back.
So when you run it the second time, I need you to make the same check again, please. Hilarious. Hey, Commander Rin, this station's no more than a couple of days old.
This makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense, Commander, if I may. It's merely a matter of temporal flux. The station doesn't have a cohesive, singular temporal chronometric reading.
Have the 2 aliens that were there and with the dramatic backlighting, have they approached us yet, or
they're waiting and allowing you to bask in the glory that is Chronos Station?
Okay, well, Mitchell's gonna walk up to them. Greetings, I'm Commander Mitchell of the USS Boudica. Thank you for allowing our vessel to dock with this station.
It is the least we could do for the bringer of light. We did not expect your return so quickly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. They both say welcome back and forth with one another. And then in unison, they say to you, the morning dawn greets you, Dawnbringer, warmly, and may the sun of your light shine illuminated on your face. I kind of stumbled over that one, sorry.
She will introduce the rest of the away team with her. Return. I don't believe we've ever been to this station before.
They both look to one another kind of confused. It's hard to tell because, again, the alien expressions, but you get the impression they're confused. But you have been here many times, Dawnbringer. You are the bringer of light, the bringer of life. Life to the darkness, light to where there is none. You are the Dawnbringer.
And would she get the sense that they're being completely sincere and there's no...
Are they being sarcastic? No, they're being completely
or
sincere.
other motive? Okay. Okay. So
I mean,
she,
if you
like,
would like to make a reason and command or reason security, I would probably say to say if see if they're lying or trying to mess with you. That's totally
well,
fine.
don't know why
Did
they
she
would.
sense like their emotions?
Exactly, or telepathically, just
So
like
interesting you should ask about emotions. As you look towards their mind, as you kind of reach out, maybe probe, these creatures appear to have a natural defense. It is like trying to walk towards the sound of something and hitting a brick wall. You can hear it on the other side, but you can't actually make anything out.
huh. Of course. My mistake.
What news do you bring of us, of the darkness? Does your war against it go well? Are we winning?
Things are stagnant at the moment. There have been no changes.
The two of them nod to one another.
Things are stable at the moment. We understand there is another human on board the station.
Tilt head to one side, tilt to the other.
According to our scans.
Both
And
shake their head. There are no others aboard this station other than us and the other 98.
They would have just docked right before we did.
You are the first to arrive here on Chronos Station in many millennia.
She's going to do a quick scan herself to make sure like that human's still here, and then she'd show it to them, whatever results she gets.
Control science, difficulty of 3.
Oh.
It's a big station. Lots of places to hide.
Control. Silence.
All humanoids look the same. Thank you, Sidereal Day. I appreciate you.
Tactical security as a focus?
Sure, absolutely.
And I will use 1 momentum.
You have 6 of them. You guys are stacked right now. Great. That's currently a failure.
What?
So failures can be fun, though. Commander Velia, you scan, and we're going to fail forward. You scan, and you don't pick up a human. You pick up a Vulcan life sign aboard the station. Near the center of the station as well, close to where this white hole is.
So without missing a beat, she'll show that to them. So it is you have another humanoid on your station.
They look down, look at it. Ah, yes, the ambassador.
Yes, I have business with him.
As do I.
Both of them frown. They look nervous is the best way to describe it. They look uncertain of what to do next, and they kind of shuffle back and forth on their feet a little bit.
Which way to the center?
The center is through the passageway behind us, the tunnel of light. However, and they shuffle back and forth again uncomfortably, and you all would realize this, is that their eyes, all of them, are darting towards the weapons that you may carry, your phasers on your hips. And they seem very uncomfortable about those.
I think on Rin's part, with that, he's actually going to disarm himself.
They soften a little bit. The kind of greenish blue one seems to smile slightly. We understand, Dawnbringer, that you have been at war for eons, but this is a place of peace, and war must be left behind.
Of course. Is there a storage locker of a sort that we could place our phasers?
The tall green one kind of waves her hand, and you watch a table materialize to the right, likely some sort of holographic display or program, but you don't see any holographic, devices anywhere. So it's maybe intrinsic to the ship. You're not sure, but it's definitely some sort of holographic program.
But we can actually put our stuff on the
Yeah,
table.
absolutely.
Okay.
Mitchell will do so as well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Same as Velia.
Does everyone disarm?
Barial was going to ask the cap. Is the captain's with us though?
No.
Yes.
Nope.
No, the captain's not with us.
Velia would be your head of security.
I must object to this.
As
Take off your phaser.
and as Tana is putting his phaser down, he turns over to the other Bajoran and he says, "Come now, the prophets will protect us."
Oh yeah, they always do a great job of that, don't they?
They've never failed us before. They rescued us from the occupation. They preserved us during the Dominion War. It will happen again.
You remind me of my mother. Nevertheless, I don't need a phaser. I'll be fine without it. Hopefully the prophets will protect you.
And we cut to a scene of the five of you walking down this long hallway, and it feels like you walk for quite a while. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, and all along the walls of this walkway that leads towards the center, that same bright light, like you're walking into like almost like a fluorescent white light, just or a spotlight beaming into your face. Sometimes you have to actually bring your hands up to kind of block out that light. But as you're walking down the hallway, you see on the right and the left-hand side, and even on the ceiling, there are just countless murals of this. Murals. There it is. Not murals. Murals. Hello, I'm Muriel. No, murals of this dark, kind of shadowy looking humanoid figure, but with bright, fiery red hair. And there are scenes with this figure wielding what looks to be a sword, fighting monsters, untold monsters. There are scenes of this humanoid wielding what looks like modern firearms. There are just all of these different scenes, and it seems you are moving through a history of this Dawnbringer, this bringer of light that they have referenced a few times now. And as you get closer and closer, there is a moment where you've been walking for about 15 minutes. They haven't said anything. They're just walking in unison, almost kind of gliding over this perfect floor. One steps forward and it seems to move through a kind of like precipice, a kind of like thickening of the air. And there's kind of this bloop kind of noise, and they step through, and you can kind of see, almost looks like a liquid close around them. And as they do so, they seem to vanish. And then very, 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 very distant down the hallway, you think you see them reappear. Looks as though they've stepped through some sort of, almost like a Stargate of some kind, to make that kind of reference for you.
Could I take a scan of it before we step through?
Absolutely.
And compare it against the Numfell Legion fighters?
You know what? I'm just going to give this one to you. Same technology.
Well, Commander, and he's just going to point over at the tricode readings, this should come as no surprise, but this appears to be the same kind of fundamental technology that was being employed by the strike craft that we encountered. Sorry, that probably should have been directed at a particular commander instead of all the commanders here. Commander Mitchell.
Understood.
As for the iconography, this is just primitive superstition. Most religions are. And he's just going to step through the portal.
And as you step through, you appear on the other side next to the two waiting Noonfills, as it were.
So Velia has already stepped through, and she's on the other side.
Excellent. Velia steps through. Brilliant.
Barial follows.
You step through. You're there.
Mitchell takes a final look around this hall of history.
Mhm.
And
Mitchell, as you are standing there alone, you finally notice, and I'm glad that you're the last one through.
Is Rin
Rin
still
hasn't
through?
gone through yet.
Rin, you and her standing together. You're noticed together. So I thought Rin had said he stepped through, but no, the two of you are standing together, and perhaps Mitchell, you'll be the first to notice. Maybe you point it out to Rin, maybe you don't. But Mitchell, you're going to notice that there is a unfinished mural that is right at the precipice, right at the top, right before this kind of portal-like technology that will lead you deeper into the station. But there appears to be once again, that shadowy outline of a humanoid, all in black, and the only color is the red hair, and they appear to be wielding what looks like a Type 2 phaser, and you see a beam of, like, again, all black, and it looks like it's just about to strike a black shadowy outline of what you can only assume is an Endorian. Little blue antenna. It's the only color is two little blue antenna, but the rest is black.
And Mitchell will turn to Rin, and she'll kind of nod up to the unfinished mural. I wonder if our two intruders will turn on each other.
We'll kind of look up at it. Well, we can be hopeful that's the case.
And she'll go through the portal.
I think we're just gonna
stand
stand there
Rin.
for a moment.
So you're the last one through, Rin?
Apparently.
Perfection. Rin, you stand there for a moment. What do you do?
I think from the scan that Matthew's character took and what he relayed, maybe a little more concern popped itself into Rin's head.
Mm-hmm.
His own scans previously, the Newfell Legion ships and this station are not the same technology. Yet now, here inside, here is the same technology. Something doesn't seem right, but he hasn't had a chance to tell anyone yet.
Excellent. And he may not get the chance to tell anyone, as I'm going to spend 3 threat as you suddenly hear footsteps from behind you, as though they materialize out of thin air. And you hear a voice that you only heard in passing. It's the Vulcan. It's the diplomat. And he says, "Commander Rin, you and I must have a quick conversation. Please, follow me."
Rin's going to take a quick look back towards the voice.
Mm-hmm.
Does he see anything other than just the Vulcan? Does
You
the Vulcan have a weapon with him?
just the Vulcan standing before you, roughly 15 feet from your position.
And if I decide to step through this instead?
Then you will set things in motion that will be difficult to stop, and many lives may be lost.
I think Rin's going to look back towards the portal, look back towards the ambassador, lead the way.
I was hoping you would see the logic in my request. Follow me, Commander Rin. And he's going to lead you down a hallway. And as you come, this has just been a long cylindrical tube that you've just been walking down for, minutes and minutes and minutes, 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes until you met this kind of portal passageway to get to the center. And as you walk about 2 minutes down the hallway, quickly following behind him, he turns to the right. There is a mural. I want to say mural all the time. Mural. That's a hard word. Mural. And it is this kind of black, shadowy looking smoke like monster with red eyes. And once again, the red kind of, red haired, black, shadowy outline of a warrior type person. And in this one, they are wielding what looks to be a spear against the shadow monster. And he will place his hand on it, and it will kind of fade into that similar looking portal that you saw down the hallway where the rest of the crew has stepped through. And then he will motion towards it. And as he motions towards it, you see next to the warrior, you see another outline appear. And the only distinguishing characteristics are this one is all gray, but has little black dots on the side of their face.
Can you explain what I'm looking at?
I could, but you would likely simply have more questions, and those questions would turn into more questions. Easier to answer them all at once if you simply step through and face your destiny.
Always a safe thing to do.
Uh,
Mhm.
you know what? You only live once.
YOLO.
Rin is probably going to take a breath.
Did
Look
a
up at
joint drill just say you only live once?
Irony.
Rin's going to step through it.
I love it. Rin, as you step through it, you find yourself standing in... Well, you find yourself standing in just a massive, sprawling, white room. There is just white and light all around you, but you see nothing. You see no one, and you hear no one.
Oh no.
You look behind you, and you see nothing behind you. The portal is gone. The ambassador is gone. There is only white light. What do you do?
Do I still have my tricorder on me?
You absolutely do.
I am going to see what readings I can pick up in this room.
Temperature is comfortable. It's maybe like, I don't know, what is it, Celsius? Just Fahrenheit? Like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It's very comfortable. It's Class M. Perfect atmosphere. Like, you could breathe this, it'd probably make you live longer if you breathe this. But the only life sign you're picking up is you. However, I would like you to give us a control science. Difficulty of 0. I want to see if you can pick something up. And perhaps get some momentum back. Like that. Beautiful. Beautiful. You're capped on momentum, and you have 2 floating momentum that you could use to create an advantage. So if you want to spend those 2 momentum to create an advantage, you may do so. And you can wait until I tell you what you find out.
Yeah, let's wait, because I have absolutely no idea what to do.
So you are scanning, you do a 360, what you think is a 360. It's hard to tell because you have no point of reference, like you can't see angles. It's actually quite disorienting. You feel dizzy, a little off, but you do a quick spin, and as you spin and spin and spin and spin, you finally, on like the 4th spin, pick up a faint reading of what seems to be, well, it seems to be a warp core. It's like distant. It's like far in that direction. And you kind of squint. You think you see like a tiny little blue pinprick. And you look at your readings and you start to think you hear someone almost like cooing at the warp core. They're like, it's okay, Jormungandr. You're doing a great job. You're just, who's a good boy? Who's a good Jormungandr? Oh, you're a good warp core. That's right. That's right. You're wonderful. And you start to pick up life signs as well. And you start to pick up multiple readings. You've got some humanoids. You've got some Vulcans. You've got just all smattering of species. And you start to pick up more readings that seem like they might be the warp engine, the engine room of a starship. It's just over there. It's right over there.
I think Rand's initial reaction at hearing somebody baby talking a warp engine, it's gonna be, oh, not one of these. Again, looking around, this is the only reading. He's going to start heading towards it.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I didn't think it would happen this quickly, but it's absolutely fantastic. And we will pick up where you go. We'll pick up where you go, and I apologize in advance. You may be a little backseated here for the rest of the episode, but you will see this gentleman back here on Tuesday, because he is going to arrive in the engine room of the Ragnar. That's where you do step out. Captain Hagen, you had a
Just
question.
a quick question. Yeah, maybe we could just retcon and say that another supporting character came with us so that Alex can take over that one.
I'm happy to do that.
If
Sure.
you want to, Alex.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Or if we do anything back on the ship, can be one of my supporting characters there.
I like that. I like
Sure.
that. I like that. It's beautiful. So, yeah, Matthew, you have stepped through some sort of portal in time. Not Matthew, excuse me. Commander Rin. You've stepped through some sort of portal in time and space, and you arrive, well, elsewhere. Now, to the rest of you, you all step through 1, 2, 3, 4. Commander Mitchell, you wait a few moments, and Commander Rin doesn't come through.
She would try her communicator.
No response.
Velia scans.
No
She
readings.
would try to reach out with her mind.
No response.
I'm now starting to understand the captain's headaches.
On Velia's scan, trying to find Rin, does she find where the ambassador is? Like, because
Funny, you should
do
ask.
We see him.
Funny,
where we
you
are?
should ask. You've stepped through this portal. You've arrived just mere meters from the large central chamber. And to describe this chamber to you, there are these huge catwalks that lead across to the central pillar that seems to be kind of suspended in the mid-center of this large, perfectly circular chamber. It rises up, and there are these massive chain-like links that connect it, and you see this kind of crackling energy travel up these links. And in the center of this massive chamber is, you guessed it, that massive and awe-inspiring white hole. And you can see these kind of pulses of energy. And every so often it seems to pulse. It's like 1, 2, 3. Then it waits. 1, 2, 3. And then it kind of waits. 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like it's almost like it's almost like a Morse code kind of thing. And it's just pulsing. You'll see this energy travel down these large chains. And inside of the chamber, around the circular catwalk, you see a number of these Nymphel, and each of them is holding this crystal in their hands. And they appear to be paying homage or worshipping this white hole in the center of the space station. The two that are leading you both bring their hands together in this kind of like bird-like motion, and then bring it up to their heads, and then kind of move out like this. And they say, "The morning dawn greets you warmly, and may the sun shine brightly upon your face." And they turn back to Commander Mitchell. "The ceremony is prepared for you, Dawnbringer."
Forgive me, it has been a while. What exactly does this entail?
And she looks to her compatriot. The compatriot looks to her. "Dawnbringer, is everything all right? It has been many, many millennia, but you do not seem yourself."
Out of character, I'm happy to make a bullshit roll to try to be like, it's been a hot minute. This war. Just what do I need to roll to try to deception?
You know what? Just what you said. Just what you
okay,
said.
cool.
Like, hey, it's been a hot second. It's the
Then hold on,
war.
let me get back in character.
All right, that's fine. I'm not mad about it.
And Mitchell will look frustrated for a moment, just like, she should be better. Like, It has been a while, as I previously stated, and the war, it has done damage to us all.
And the one that hasn't spoken, the one next, this orange one, speaks finally. "Yes, the war has taken much. It has taken most of our people and turned them into monsters. We can only imagine the trials and the pain that it has caused you, Dawnbringer. I would be happy to explain the ceremony to you to refresh you into the ways in which you communicate with the divine light. And he motions towards the white hole.
She's going to lean over to, I guess, the science officer and see if he can find any information on this Dawnbringer and any history dealing with this station.
And he's going to look slightly off put for a moment with a few quick glances over at the intelligence officer. Of course, Commander, I'll just
access the
liaise.
records.
Then the science officer is actually going to straighten and step forward. Given that the Dawnbringer has experienced the travails of war and is in requires some re-education. It's a poor choice of words considering my people's history, but some re-education. Could I have access to your databanks?
All that come in peace and bask in the warmth of the light of the sun are welcome to all knowledge contained within the divine vessel.
That's most hospitable of you, Commander, and he's going to just gesture over towards Commander Velia. Perhaps we should investigate that databank.
Did they point to something, or what did they say again?
They motion towards the central pillar. So as I described to you, there's a central pillar that's suspended in the center of this large circular chamber. It's like probably a mile across this walkway, and there's just, bottomless pit on either side kind of style, and there's this sparking energy. But they motion towards the center, and if you kind of squint your eyes, you think you see what look like maybe some computer panels or consoles over there.
Okay, well.
Okay, so. And there's no portal thing to jump across.
There is not.
Then never mind. They'll explain it to me. It's fine.
Oh, no, Commander, I think that you're quite right. We should gather any information that we can.
What rank is your character, Matthew?
He's an ensign.
Ensign. Yes, well, the ensign starts ahead to cross to the center, and she'll kind of give a pointed look like you start on ahead, go. She'll turn to the two Numfall. I see that the ambassador is not here, and she did her scan. Did she find him on there again?
You do, and you know where you find him? In the center, on that pillar, suspended. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's where he's hanging out. The fuck?
Okay. Well, she would have looked at her scan before she said anything, so she's just gonna follow after the ensign.
All right.
Like he's suspended in the air.
No, the center is suspended.
The center is suspended. He is standing on the platform in the center. So imagine that there's a dial in the center, like a sundial, and then there's a spike that comes up, and the white hole is suspended on this little dial, but there's a platform with all these computers around it to interact with the white hole. No, he's suspended in thin air, like crucified. Yeah, okay, that got dark.
The grammar there got a little confusing.
Yeah,
it's
my
fine.
bad. Sorry.
He is the knowledge. He is. I was like, what?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
That'd have been wild.
Yeah.
I literally thought you meant that he was the white hole.
No, God no. I'm glad everyone clarified. No, he's just his life sign is over on the platform. Okay. Maybe it looks like he's interacting with some of the computers over there.
Oh boy.
It's a very different story.
A very different story. God. Sorry about my grammar. English is my
That's okay.
First
he is
language,
the sun, and he will welcome us. Okay, so after I guess Velia's going, Mitchell will then turn her attention back to the two hosts and again ask for the clarification of what this ceremony entails.
Excellent. And as they begin to explain, we're actually going to cut back to the bridge of the Boudica, where, let's see here. I think Christopher Jensen is getting a chance to sit in the captain's chair. He's usually sitting up at the front there, but he's got a chance to sit at the captain's chair today. And it's pretty boring. Not a lot's been going on. In fact, there's not a whole lot of crew sitting on the bridge right now because they're docked on a station, and everything's pretty chill. And you're just kind of hanging out, doing well. Maybe like you're looking at a tricorder. Like you flip it open, you close it, you flip it open again. And then there's a beeping that comes from the little computer, little arm buttons, a little beep, 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 beep noise that starts beeping. You're not sure what it means at first. Maybe you should look at it.
It's going to look down. Is there actually any display there?
Yeah, there's a little display.
Does it say anything specific on it, or?
You know what? You're not as familiar with this as you'd like to be, so I'm actually going to have you do a quick check. It's going to be a control and command, difficulty of 1. You have to remember the codes that the captain gave you. Beautiful. And you gain a momentum. You're capped on momentum, by the way. You still have technically those 2 floating momentum, but they might be gone. But you know what? If you want to use them at some point, it's fine. But you actually remember the code. You beep it in. A little display, a little kind of like visual display pops up in front of you. And you see a rear shot, one of the rear cameras of the Ragnar. And you can see the massive opening that leads into this docking bay. You see another ship moving in, looking like it's about to dock. Can you guess what kind of ship it is?
Is it that Prometheus?
You're gosh darn tootin' it is. You're gosh darn tootin'. And it's coming in. And it's moving very quickly. And it looks like it's about to dock right next to the Boudica.
Jensen to captain?
Captain does not respond.
Oh, I was not trained for this. Yellow alert?
What? And one of the ensigns at the bridge there wakes up. In fact, whose ensign is that at the bridge? Whose ensign
Which
is
one?
that? Let's see.
I think that's Drills.
Is that Drills?
That one's mine.
Drill, I
Drill
need
and
you
Cynthia.
to pretend like you're waking up from a nap and
Keela.
and be like, wait,
Okay. Contrary, can I pitch that she's extremely anxious and doesn't know why she's there, so she's not paying attention to
Love
anything
that.
other than her
Absolutely,
internal panic?
absolutely love that. Her internal panic has taken over, and she is not hearing the command staff right now, unfortunately.
Okay, I guess I'll do it myself.
Wait, what? What are we doing?
Yellow alert.
Okay, and she's just gonna tap all the buttons.
Oh boy.
And then
You start tapping buttons.
fix it, and then do yellow alert.
There's it goes to standard, and then it goes to red, and then you start getting all these messages from different section commanders, and they're like, what the heck's going on? What's happening? And then it goes to yellow alert and back to red alert. Then it shuts off again, and you're having a moment here. You're having a moment, and as all of that is going on, the room itself, the bridge starts to get really, really, really cold. Really, really cold. Something's wrong with the environmental system. You watch as frost starts to form over the consoles. Frost, your hands feels like it's sticking to the chair in this moment. You can actually see this kind of frosty breeze coming out of the environmental little vents and whatnot. And things start to get very uncomfortable very quickly. What would you all like to do?
So Keela, in her panic of red alert, yellow alert, red alert, yellow alert, finally gets it, and then as a problem starts, she kind of almost switches gears, and now she's trying to solve a problem.
I like
And to she's engineering, so she's okay, what's going on with the systems here? And she's gonna do the diagnostic first and then solving why the room is freezing.
That's beautiful. And Alex, what is your character doing?
I think sitting there watching the lights flashing between different alert stages, probably going to look towards Cole up at the front.
Okay.
Can you get any sort of sensor readings on that ship that's coming in?
Of course, sir. I'll scan immediately. Do you want to break dock and prepare to engage? It is a hostile vessel.
I don't think we'll have time to.
Good. And then I guess he'd like to take a tactical scan of it instead of any kind of scientific one. Can I ascertain its weapon status, whether it might be poised to attack us?
Yes, you may. And in fact, you don't even need to roll for it. All of its weapons are powered down, its shields are down. It does not seem to have any hostile intent in this moment. Not a single bit of hostile intent.
It's coming in with its shields down and weapons disarmed. Captain, would that be appropriate to call you such? You are technically in command.
That is the way it's supposed to work, so I guess so.
Big day for you.
I wish it wasn't.
So do I.
As Keela is flying across her controls trying to figure out this freezing thing, should we hail them? And then she'll just keep going.
No. Keep sensors locked on that vessel. I don't want to present any outwardly hostile action towards them, but I want to make sure if they pose a threat, we at least know before phaser starts flying.
Captain,
as you
would it
say
not behoove
this,
us?
your breath is starting to frost in front of you. It's like almost getting hard to breathe. Continue.
Is Keela figuring any of that out?
Keela, can you roll a control science difficulty of 2?
And starship construction?
No.
Escape and avoidance?
Do you have anything that is that would be like transporters or?
I have shuttlecraft operations. Those are my 3.
No, unfortunately not. None of those are gonna work. I hate to say it.
Okay, then I'm going to use a momentum.
I'm okay with it.
Since we have enough.
Okay.
Keela's still panicking, apparently.
All right, so here's what happens, unfortunately. There is a swirl of what looks like frost and snow that appears to start to almost do this little, like, it almost looks like a little tornado in the center of the chamber. And it starts to spin and twirl, and you can feel this kind of sucking kind of like sensation. And as she spins around, there is almost like an arm. It looks like a hand that strikes her right across her chest and kind of like in a downward angle down to her stomach. And you can sort of see these like bluish claw marks that claw across her. And she is thrown to the floor. You then hear a voice. It sounds dark and somewhat ominous. And it says, I have a deal for you. I have a proposition, if you're willing to listen. Then you hear another voice, and the other voice says, ah! And you hear what sounds like a kerfuffle of some sort, like 2 people fighting one another. And as the swirling in the center of the chamber falls away, and the ambient temperature of the room starts to rise up as the snow seems to melt, you see lying on the floor a Ferengi wearing yellow with ensign pips on, and he is lying unconscious on the bridge of the Boudica.
What happened to Keela? Is she unconscious?
She is unconscious.
Dang.
Alex, there's an ensign, a Ferengi ensign lying on the floor. Matthew, it's a Ferengi ensign lying on the floor.
Yeah, Kroll is going to stand up, drawing his phaser, pointing it at the Ferengi. And then turning to the acting captain, Captain, don't you think we should inform the command staff of this on the station? I mean,
Yes.
good. And he taps his comm badge. Kroll to security.
And I think that's a great moment for us to transition over to a quick 5 to 10 minute break where we'll pick back up with the remainder of The Second Son, Episode 5. But stick around for Part 2 of Episode 5. We'll be right back with you. Mute. All right, and we are back a little early. Thanks, everybody, for sticking with us. But we are going to cut back. Imagine, if you will, you've just gone to credits. We return to our regularly scheduled program. And we see Commander Velia. We see, I believe it was... Who was going across? Was it Zim going across? If I remember correctly? Or was it Tana that was heading across? Tana. So we see Commander Rin and Tana heading across towards the center, that center pillar platform. Commander Mitchell and Zim standing next to each other, and these two Numfel. The Numfel with the orange skin, the orange kind of almost scaly-like skin, steps away and actually goes to join some of the other Numfel that are holding these crystals and, again, paying kind of this homage. They're all letting out this kind of low, like, kind of noise, and their ums coincide with those pulses, that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 pulsing that you see where it gets brighter and then mutes a little bit, gets brighter and mutes a little bit. But as Commander Rin and her red shirt ended.
Rin's not there anymore.
Commander Rin, excuse me, Commander Velia. I'm having a moment tonight, guys. I might be having an aneurysm. But as Commander Velia and the Tana travel across the walkway, as you get closer and closer and closer again, it's about a mile. You might be hoofing it, but you can see the outline of the Vulcan ambassador, and it appears that he is interacting with some sort of panel, some sort of computer panel up near the base of this white hole where this kind of structure rises up and seems to hold it in place. And as you are watching him interact with this console, your tricarders, both of them, which I assume are out, likely taking readings, start to pick up what looks to be the reading of a site-to-site transport. A site-to-site transport, and it has Federation like signal, Federation kind of makeup to it. It appears to be a Federation site-to-site transport.
Can I use my tricorder to disrupt that, or at least first find out where it's coming from?
You absolutely can. Absolutely can. If you'd like to give me a momentum, you can just do it.
Do it. We have it.
Okay.
You determine that it is coming from a vessel that your ship has interacted with. It's coming from a Prometheus class vessel. It's the same Prometheus class vessel that you all have been interacting with time and again. It's the one that is run by a certain red-headed wannabe captain that messed with your ship way back when.
And he turns over to Velia. Commander, I believe that hostile forces are transporting on board the station. Should I attempt to block them?
And was the ambassador interacting with it, or was this like a separate thing?
Separate thing. The ambassador is interacting with
Okay.
the computer that is at the base of the white holes like platform.
Yes, try and block it.
And he's going to link their tricorders together, hopefully so that she can use her security expertise to assist. And he'll try to create some kind of particle scattering field drawing from the background radiation of the white hole in order to amplify its signal and basically scatter the transporter beam.
Control science, difficulty of 2.
I'm assuming I'm assisting her.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you 3 momentum to roll 4 dice, if that's okay with everyone.
Done.
You said control science?
You would see appearing in that kind of blue swirling kind of light that you see occasionally with transports, that white and blue light. You would see the outline of a certain red-headed captain wielding a phaser rifle in her hand, and it is pointed in the direction of the ambassador. But she then disappears back from whence she was attempting to come. And you get a momentum back. No, you can still roll, because you might get some more momentum.
Tactical security.
Absolutely.
Focus.
Absolutely.
Hey.
That's worth it. That was worth it. That was good. That was good. That was good.
upon seeing like that captain trying to beam in what she was doing and then is gone, she's immediately gonna run to the ambassador. What is your involvement in this?
So as you run up, you get very, very close to the ambassador, and he looks back hearing your footfalls. I imagine that Tana is trying to keep pace with Commander Velia at this time. And as you get within just to the edge of where there's these long catwalks that lead across this central platform where the computer is located at the base of this kind of pillar that's holding up the white hole. And he, looks back over his shoulders when he hears the like tunk, 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 tunk kind of noise of you running across this metallic platform or the catwalks. And he looks back over and he doesn't sneer, but he frowns, and then he leans back into what he's doing and starts typing even more intensely into this console.
He ignores my question.
You call out to him, and he does not respond.
She's gonna turn to Tana. Get on that computer. What is he looking? What is he doing?
That's not exactly my specialization. Maybe you should just tackle him. You're a security officer.
No, she was. Okay, I'm going to clarify what she was doing. She meant like an adjacent computer, because we were originally
there are multiple
their
consoles
database anyway.
Yeah, there are
we'll
multiple
just whatever
consoles.
one's closer, and she's gonna go up to him and kind of look at what he's doing for a few seconds before deciding to take any.
As each of you get within about 30 feet of this ambassador, he finally stops what he's doing. He reaches forward and pushes a button. You hear this beep, and the pulsing, which has been very rhythmic. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1 gets about halfway through 2, and then the white hole starts to dim very, very quickly, and all of the Noomfell that are around the center of this chamber start to rise and raise their crystals up, and they go, and they make this noise, and it starts to kind of fill the chamber, and he looks back at Commander Velia, and he says, "What I am doing, Commander, has already been done. I am attempting to restore things to the way they are supposed to be."
I don't know what to do. Can I see on the am I close enough to see what did he do?
There is what appears to be a countdown timer. It is in a language that you're not familiar with, but it definitely looks like numbers counting down. The symbols appear to be getting smaller. You're not sure how much time is left, but the symbols are getting smaller.
Commander, permission to engage.
Granted.
I'm tackling.
I'm going wait, let me just make sure. Zim, you have joined them?
I was with.
You were with them?
Velia, wasn't I?
They went away. They're all the way across. But if you want to say that you followed behind them and you left the Commander Mitchell all by herself,
that's fine.
Totally fine with that.
I would have been following Velia.
Yes, I love it.
So upon that, Velia is gonna book it back to Mitchell.
All right. So here's the thing. You go to book it, and you hear, and Jasoniman, Fizbo, I need you to give me your best "I'm about to tackle a Vulcan diplomat" voice. Not too loud. You don't want to break make the microphone, but give me a good as you go to tackle him. So you turn, Commander Velia, and you hear this, and you see the Vulcan diplomat does not try to get out of the way, doesn't even attempt to defend himself, just gets frickin' jackknife, just boom, right through the center, knocks him on his ass, right into the back, right into the base of this computer console, this terminal. The problem, if you remember, I have so much threat. I am going to spend 1, 2, 3 threat.
We're all gonna die.
And what happens is that as the Vulcan diplomat is tackled, his head snaps back, striking the console, the screen, shattering it. So the console screen that was counting down is broken now. And the Vulcan diplomat is also unconscious. Cut back to Commander Mitchell.
Jesus, it was
Cut
great
back.
I just want to add that as Velia was running away, she would have ordered Tana to try and undo whatever was done there, if possible. And then she's like,
Absolutely
she just took off.
brilliant. It would have been possible, but a certain security officer, I believe, just
I
tackled.
asked for permission.
He did ask for permission, so really it's the
You were my
commander's
superior
fault.
officer, and I
It's the
asked for
commander's fault.
permission.
That's true.
How
You
many
did.
times
I'll just
now?
leave now.
You did. You did. It's beautiful.
How many times now have we cracked this Vulcan's neck at a bad angle? At
He
this
may
point?
not. He may not be coming back from this one. I don't
This is the
know.
last time. Okay, let's just
Probably
be clear
is.
on that.
But as we cut back to Commander, go ahead. please.
Unlike Rin, he's YOLO, so
I love it. But as we cut back to Commander Mitchell, you have been feeling the sensation, this kind of draw towards the white light. And as the white light goes the 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, and then it starts to shrink. You get this, similar to the way I described it to the captain, this kind of crushing, horrible sinking feeling in your chest, as though someone as though you were laying flat and someone is stepping with all of their weight right onto your chest, crushing your lungs, making it almost impossible for you to breathe. You gasp deeply, trying to bring in air, kind of sounding like you cannot breathe. But then you feel a hand. You feel a hand on your shoulder. And you look up and you see the Numfel before you. You see Relia. R-I-L-A-A. Relia. And she says, "Do you feel it? Do you feel the pain? The pain that the darkness causes?"
yes.
And do you have faith? Do you have faith that the light can win?
The darkness cannot continue.
As you say the darkness cannot continue, that central column where this white hole is like suspended above it, there's like a large pillar and the white hole swirling above it. You hear this grinding noise, and it sounds like, and it kind of looks like the top is opening, kind of like a spiral flower. And there's these little kind of spikes that come up, and you watch as the white hole travels down this central tube. Down through it, you can see this beaming light as it's passing through these like kind of windowed sections, and it's like boom, the whole chamber goes dark, then the light comes out, the whole chamber goes dark, light comes out, whole chamber goes dark, and everyone is seeing this kind of like flickering of white and dark and light and dark and light and dark. And then you watch as the white hole comes out the base, somewhere deep down to that cavernous kind of pit that I described to you. You look down, and again, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. You look down, and then you see this beam of light at the base of this, what seems to be an endless hole in the central chamber of this space station. You feel another hand rest upon your other shoulder, Commander Mitchell. Then if you have faith that light will overcome the darkness, you need but take that leap of faith. All of the Noomful around that are making this home go silent. The entire chamber is like you could hear a pin drop. She stands up and motions towards the edge of the circular outer platform, and she motions for you to leap over it.
How close am I?
You are running down the platform, but you are a ways off.
Do I see any of this happening? Like,
You
what do I
see? You see Commander Mitchell maybe clutching her chest, trying to gasp for air. You see this tall, lengthy alien motioning towards the edge. And Commander Mitchell, what does your expression look like? Are you considering it? What are you doing?
Well, I need to know several things before I answer that. Did I see the ambassador completely get sacked?
You were a little distracted. I will say that much.
And then what did they tell me about this ritual in the behind the scenes?
So
What have I
they told
garnered
you,
from
that's a great
this?
question that we didn't get into, and I think this is a great moment to dive into it. What they told you is that the ritual is, as it has always been, a test of your commitment, not only to the light, but a commitment to yourself and the forces of good. You will be tried in the most difficult ways possible. Each of the rituals is different, but each is harder than the last.
Will I die?
Yes, perhaps, but you may also live.
She'll go to the edge and look.
Commander Velia, you are tunk, 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 tunk. You actually hear it. The only sound you hear, Mitchell, is you hear Commander Velia running. Your feet just over the edge. Maybe you waver ever so slightly. You can feel the tall alien behind you. You can feel her presence, but it's not overbearing. It's not forcing. The choice, you can feel it. That crushing sensation has disappeared. As you stand on the edge, you feel not a pull, not a push, but you feel perhaps for the first time in your life completely and utterly in control of your own destiny. What happens next is your choice, Commander Mitchell. Commander Velia, you were going to say something, though.
I was going to say she's just yelling.
Yeah, and you know what, Commander Mitchell? In this moment, you don't even hear it. All you hear is the sound of your own heartbeat and your own voice in your mind.
I keep drawing this out, but does the Trill have anything to say about this? Do they know anything about this?
You know what? They have no idea.
The symbiote. I'm sorry.
The symbiote is, as I described the last time, remember how I said like things were quiet? The symbiote is uncomfortably quiet. It is literally just you in this moment. It is as though nothing else in the universe. You know how I described the outside of this space station as being nothingness? That is like that for you in this moment. Everything rides upon your own decision of what you choose to do.
Oh, man. Like, I know what I want to choose, but I'm also scared of killing off this character, so...
Hey, what did she say? Take a leap of faith. Commander Rin.
She will, hearing nothing, finally making her own choices, always wanting to strive to be the best she can, and perhaps this will be a means of doing so. She takes the step.
And as she takes a step, Commander Velia, you hear yourself screaming as you watch Commander Mitchell step over the edge and plummet towards this white light. You watch as she falls and falls. You get to the edge of the platform. You're not quite to the circular edge. All of the nymphal around begin to hum and begin to and you watch as Commander Mitchell falls and falls and falls, and she starts to turn into...
So I wasn't close enough to try and grab her.
Not close enough to grab her, unfortunately. But you start to watch as she starts to turn into, you can only make out a kind of black, shadowy outline. And the only thing that stands out as she plummets is her bright red hair. There is a blip. The entire chamber is completely illuminated in white, blinding light. And that, my friends, is where we end today's episode.
I was so tempted to have Velia jump off after you.
You know what?
But I still kind of want to do that.
You know what? You might get a chance to do that next session. But great session, everyone.
Well, that was fun playing Mitchell, guys.
Great session, everyone. Great session. Great session. Next week, this upcoming Tuesday, we will be having our first ever Derwolf Gaming's crossover between two Star Trek episodes. And as you may have surmised, Commander Rin and #no spoilers, Commander Mitchell will be joining the crew of the Ragnar. And our last scene post-credits is the good doctor in the medical bay.
Oh, God.
The good doctor in the medical bay. And this is our post-credits scene, as it were, so bear with me for just one moment. But we are going to pivot over to the medical bay, and as we hear the doctor, he is listening to Toto's Africa on like an old like cassette player. I'm like, yes, cassettes. It's the only way to do it. Best sound quality of all of it. I don't care what they say about this new computer stuff. And he's just having a good time. He's bopping. And there is a moment where the entire, very similar to what happened on the bridge, the entire chamber starts to get really, really, really cold. And we watch as he ignores it. He doesn't even seem to notice. He's just busy working on something, just kind of hanging out there. And we watch him, and he's sitting there, and he realizes, he goes, "Hey, what? Who's messing with the controls in here? It's not supposed to be this cold. I got science experiments going on." And there's that swirl, that kind of tornado-like swirl. And as that tornado-like swirl dissipates, we see lying on the floor, we see a woman. She is wearing commander pips, and she looks to be Bajoran. And he looks down at her and says, "Another commander? Just what we need." And that's the end of the episode, so there you go. All right. Good job, everybody. All right. But yes, we will be having a crossover. So Commander Ajay from Star Trek Valhalla will be joining the crew of the Mell of the Boudica this upcoming Sunday, a week from today. And then Commander Mitchell and Commander Rin will be joining the crew of the Ragnar for this upcoming Tuesday's episode. And I'll get you guys some more information on that prior to Tuesday. We start that game at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to ask that you all are there a little bit early. I'm probably going to have the Zoom link up at like 7:15 if possible. That's too early, I understand. Be there as soon as you can because I want to talk to everybody. If we need to delay the start, totally fine as well. But I just want to say thank you all. I hope you had fun. I'm a little tired today, so stumbling over my words a little bit there, so I apologize for failing you as a game master. Matthew, I know it's what you expect, so you've come in with even keel expectations. It's beautiful. But with that being said, from the crew of the Boudica, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we wrap up today's episode?
You're never a failure because you're you, Wolf. Okay?
Thanks, buddy.
You can take that two different ways. Like, you're never a failure because you're just you, so it's, normal for you, or...
I'm going to take it in the way that makes it seem like I care what you think. And
Okay.
then we're going to go from there. So there you go. But any other final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns? Not from Matthew, because he hates me. Great episode, everyone. And as I always say at the end of every session, thank you so much for the players for playing. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. Happy gaming, everybody. We will catch you next week for another episode of Star Trek Mell and a myriad of other episodes coming up. Stick around for the after credits thing here. You'll see the upcoming schedule for this week and many weeks thereafter. But in the meantime, be well and thank you again. Cheers.